What's going on, guys? It's Luke22 SV here, back with the 8th round of the career mode today here for the French Grand Prix. Straight off the bat though with two failed upgrades, so yeah, not looking so strong coming into this weekend. If those upgrades actually came onto the car, we'd be looking quite handy around the French Grand Prix, but still with the 4th best car, a little bit way off the McLaren, Ferrari and the Mercedes, of course, by a long shot. McLaren actually having the 2nd best car, but there you go, we can see the tyre wear upgrades, which would surely help as well, and then the drag upgrade, which have made us much quicker on that Mistral straight, and definitely helping us, but unfortunately we're going to have to make do without it as we head into qualifying shortly. There you go, we've got some new parts coming on, engine parts for this race as well. So a good race in the last race. We've actually had our first podium of the season, coming to probably one of my least favourite tracks on the calendar, as we had a poor race last season, 19th. We actually finished there in the end. I think it was a virtual safety car mistiming of when to speed up, and ended up accidentally getting a drive-through penalty. But we headed into qualifying then. So yeah, a track that it's going to be really difficult for me to actually do well around, I'd imagine. So we saw that there's a chance of rain in the race as well, so we've got to watch out for that. So it's got to be a long weekend, I think, as we got that, of course, that contract negotiation to have a look forward to as well. Whether that result in Canada would have helped, or the result in Spain would have helped us as well. So definitely got a podium, which has helped us, our course, a little bit. But we come into this weekend with, well, a long way behind our teammate in the standings. On our main flying lap now, we normally just have this routine in qualifying with 2 qualifying laps, one at the start of the session, one at the end of the session. Our first flying lap was only good enough for P13, so that's pretty much where our pace is at in this around this track. I really can't hook up Sector 3 for whatever reason. Sector 1 I'm okay, as you can see I've set a purple Sector 1. Sector 2 we haven't got the straight line speed, so not going to be too quick around here. So we can see we set a personal best, which is all good as we head through the last Sector 3. You see we're not even too far away from Bottas's time through the first few sectors, but this is the corner that gets me every time. I literally cannot find the speed through here, and then the following corner as well, I don't know where to go really. The braking point and the exit point are just, there you can see, run wide onto the curb, losing a lot of time actually in the end, so not helping us, and actually looking down on our previous lap time. But actually finding a bit of space and a bit of speed in these last couple of corners to manage to get a foot down and see whether we can actually improve from P13. Hopefully we can. It's good enough for P9, but we have to start on these tyres as well now, so maybe it would have been a blessing in disguise if we had stayed P13, but of course we were very slow off the start as well, so we'll probably end up being P13 after the first few corners. But our teammate's up in 3rd, so he's managed to get some pace out of this car, but still 7.5 tenths off of the Mercedes. So that's what we're up against really. The Mercedes are so strong, so our teammate's really, his best hope is to finish 3rd. He's basically best of the rest in the qualifying today. So we'll head on into the race then for the French Grand Prix. It's going to be a difficult one for sure, starting from P9. We've just got to try and score as many points as possible. I think our objective is to finish P5 or P6. So just got to gain, well, 4 or 5 places really. Well, 3 or 4 places really. So that's going to be quite hard to do, considering our pace isn't very good. So we've got to try and be aggressive on the first couple of laps whilst the pack is still bunched up, and then see where it goes from there. We may have to do a lot of defending in this race because we're just not very quick at all. But let's have a look at the starting grid then. As usual, a Mercedes front row lockout, with Hamilton dominating this season. Bottas not having the best of seasons really compared to his teammate, but Weber 3rd, he's currently 2nd in the standings. Butler 4th, Gasly and Norris, so both McLarens looking strong. Leclerc ahead of myself, and then we're up to P8, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Magnussen, Perez, and that's why Vettel down in P14 behind Russell, and then Grosjean, Fiat, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Giovinazzi and Albon at the back. So both the Renaults again having a difficult day at the home Grand Prix. That's like the worst possible thing that could have happened to them. But we head on to the start of this race then, to start the French Grand Prix, and hopefully it's going to be a good one. Starting from P8 then, so we've moved up a position thanks to Vettel, but we're away now before the start of this race, we go straight away to cover off Ricciardo, but because he gets such a better start than us, he's already passed us before the first corner. So down to P11 we go, but we dive past him again, back up to P8. So retake the positions that we lost straight away off the start. So doing that immediately has helped us. So staying in P8, we dive down the inside of Pierre Gasly. He's on the outside. We end up going onto the outside now and back to the inside and taking P7 away. So doing everything we have to do to try and gain these positions off the start, try and actually get us into a decent points playing position. So up to P7 then off the start. A good first few corners for us then, despite having a poor start. But Gasly now getting a bit of slipstream on the back of us. You can see Leclerc ahead of us with that straight line speed, probably advantage over the McLaren. So Leclerc fighting with Lando Norris now, side by side they go, and Devon Butler's fighting with my teammate, it looks like, as well, just ahead, as the two Mercedes have flown off into the distance already by the looks of it, as we get a nice tow off of Lando Norris actually, but not really anywhere to overtake here, as we end up actually bogging down a bit through that right hand kink. But now we can see on the inside Gasly looking interested, but we've closed the door there, and now following on we can see almost an opportunity to put it down the inside of Norris, a bit opportunistic, but we carry on towards the end of this lap, and there's a few cars bunching together really. So Weber has actually managed to help us here a little bit with Devon Butler just behind Leclerc behind him, and now we're just behind Lando Norris. So coming on to start finish straight to start lap 2, Hamilton leading from Bottas and Weber. We're looking to try and close in on Lando Norris. We're a little bit behind him, but can we make a move into turn 1? We think about it, dive down the inside, a little bit of contact though, and he's lost a few positions thanks to that. So we saw an opportunity, we were quite far back, we made the overtake down the inside. It's Gasly looking interested again, but again we closed the door. So contact again with a McLaren as we look at the back at the replay of the start, where he lost those positions almost immediately to Daniel Ricciardo. You can see he got past us there on the inside, and then we managed to make the move back past him, taking P8 again. So you see, I think it's Verstappen that was behind us. So Verstappen getting a good start as well. By the looks of it, you need to make a good start. 2 Red Bulls, of course, 5th best car really. So they're about where they belong as we get past Gasly at his home Grand Prix. A nice little move then on Gasly on the outside. But there you go, we can see we don't really have a good exit onto the Minstrel Straight, and Gasly having a look at us again, as Leclerc was having a look at Norris, and I think Weber was having a look at Butler. Yeah, so the two F2 rivals there going side by side into the chicane, and then we're following it as well. So good start then, but here's a bit where we almost thought about making a move on Norris, but sort of was just thinking whether to do it or not, and then the amount of thinking that we did ended up putting us off a little bit, I think. So we ended up falling back a little bit there, and Gasly looked really interested actually on the inside there, but we closed the door. There wasn't really an opportunity to get past there. Otherwise, one or both of us were going to end up in a spin or losing the front wing. But yeah, here we go towards the end of the lap. You can see the advantage that the Red Bulls actually have on me, and here we go to the worst camera angle in the world. So we'll come through the last corner and then onto the start finish straight to where we made the move on Lando Norris. Whether we're too far back or not, that's for you guys to decide, but no further action anyway, so we didn't get a penalty for it. I don't think he did. I don't know if he lost any of his car, but there you go, we went down the inside. He turned in on us, and he did look like he lost a bit of front wing. So yeah, we had to take that risk though, and he left the door open, in fairness. We were quite far back, so I think it was a fair move. He could have just seen us coming, I think, but there you go, and he almost spun in the end, but managed to keep it going. Only lost one place, well, 2 places in the end, to myself and then Gasly. So yeah, I think he might have lost a few more with the front wing damage, perhaps not helping him too much there. But now into P6, we're still behind Devon Butler, still ahead of Pierre Gasly. But it looks like these guys are starting to pull away a little bit, unless we can get into the DRS, which would help us a lot to stay with them. But I think at the moment it looks like they're going to start pulling away, unless we can actually manage to keep up with these guys. And of course there is a chance of rain in this race as well, so we'll have to try and time our pit stops right. But you can see Pierre Gasly getting a much better exit out onto the Mistral Straight, and now looking towards making a move as he's got DRS, goes to the outside to make the move. But at the moment it looks like he was a bit too far back, getting a bit quicker than us in the braking zone. but he wasn't going to get around on the outside there with our defending, and we managed to stay into P6-4 now. But again, as I said earlier, it does look like we're going to have to be looking behind us a lot in this episode, in this race, to try and keep Gasly behind us. The more chance we've got of finishing P5, we have to keep Gasly behind us in order to actually manage to gain places, really, because there could be people timing the pit stops wrong, or maybe there's going to be a few retirements in this race, so who knows. We'll have to wait and see, and if there is, there could be safety cars as well, all still to play for, even though it's only a 13-lap race. So that is what it is, really. But now Gasly's still chasing us, so that's also another suggestion. Maybe instead of having percentage races, we could actually choose the amount of laps that we do in these races, because that would actually make it easier to do YouTube videos. Perhaps a 13-lap race isn't exactly the best race to do for a career mode, really, but a 50% race perhaps too long to actually record on the Xbox upload studio thing. So maybe somewhere in between would be ideal, 30% or something like that. But of course we can't do that right now, but have the focus on defending from Gasly, as we can see that proximity arrow looming large over us for the last couple of laps now. And now it looks like he could actually make it past us into this chicane now. He's on the inside this time, but we turn in and keep ahead of him. So still keeping hold of P6 for now. So happy days for the time being, but is it only a matter of time before we lose that P6 now to Gasly? And you can see ahead of us Butler and Leclerc fighting for position, but they're a long way gone now. So the amount of defending we've had to do already from Gasly's actually slowed us down even more than what would have normally slowed us down. As you can see, they're pulling off into the distance. So there you go. It looks like we're going to have to just carry on trying to defend from Pierre Gasly, and just here and there, a rain is imminent. So we'll have to be careful here to see whether this rain is going to come or not. We come round the final quarter to start, lap 5 now. You can see just behind us there's 2 proximity arrows there. You can see it's Gasly's teammate Verstappen, who's had a bit of a difficult season too, particularly in qualifying. He's not been too handsome there, but there you go, coming through turn 1, we're running a bit wide. Gasly's probably going to look even more interested now. You can see that proximity arrow getting closer and closer again, but of course he's going to have DRS if he doesn't make the move into this corner, and we're actually having to save ERS as well, so it's all getting really tricky here as well in this race. So we've been told to pit this lap, but there's a chance of rain coming, so whether it's a wise decision to pit or not, it remains to be seen. But there you can see Verstappen coming on the inside as well as Gasly. So Gasly now making the move. Is Verstappen going to be able to make the move too? Are we going to be able to lose 1 or 2 positions, or are we going to be able to keep them both? We turn in. There's a bit of contact there between myself and Gasly, but we do manage to just lose positions for the time being. But surely Gasly and Verstappen are going to be able to get past us as quickly as possible. Gasly now going for the move. We're trying to defend as hard as possible, but surely Gasly's going to make the move. We make contact and go off the track, and Gasly surely now has got the position on us, and so has Verstappen, but we're not going to allow that. We dive back down the inside of Verstappen, make a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there, but now Verstappen's got past us too, but now we get past him, just doing a last-ditch attempt to get back past Verstappen, making a bit of contact on the inside, blocking both front wheels, but in doing so we do manage to get back past Verstappen. But now probably locking up those front wheels will probably put a lot of temperature into those tyres and manage to heat them up quite badly, I'd imagine, but almost losing position again to Verstappen. You see the racing point there as well, catching up as well. So that's Sergio Perez, he's caught up as we move on to lap 6, and it started to rain. We decided not to pit at the end of lap 5, so now Sergio Perez is all over us. So really shows how poor our race pace is, really, compared to our teammate who's actually fighting with the Mercedes at the moment. You can see on the mini-map, which is insane really to see that happen, because well, the Mercedes is so overpowered as Sergio Perez has now got past us. So Sergio Perez got past Verstappen and ourselves, a man who's probably had so much confidence since winning the Monaco Grand Prix. And again, going down the inside, making contact with him. I'm not really sure what happened there, and then Verstappen making contact with us again. So making contact with so many cars today in this race, as we dive back down the inside of Verstappen, and we're going to try and pit this lap, even though our teammates coming to the pits. But already it's just been a few corners, really, a few sectors, and it's almost undrivable as we come into the pits. to put on intermediates, currently in P6. So our front tyres there were done, completely done. DRS is disabled, so everyone putting on intermediates already. Again, don't really like how unrealistic it is. Everyone's just decided that to come into the pits. You know, I think in real life it would be a lot different. It is what it is, I guess. But we're still in P8 now, so a few cars have carried on. I guess their teammates have come in, so probably not enough room for them to pit. So come out then in P8. So hopefully we've not lost too many positions. But the man behind us is Kevin Magnussen, actually. So I'm not sure how that's happened. I'm guessing Haas have had a hell of a pit stop there. So in P8, just ahead of Magnussen. So things are looking okay at the moment. So a little bit of fresh air, I guess. Hopefully we don't have to worry too much about K-Mag as we carry on around these next few corners to see if there's a few cars that haven't pitted. So whether this will help us out or not, we'll have to wait and see towards the end of this lap. But you can see actually ahead of us on the soft tyres, Giovinazzi. So that's at least one car that will have to come into the pits at the end of this lap, and a few others as well. So we're looking quite handy at the moment because the Red Bull was disappeared. I haven't seen Gasly anywhere, so maybe both the Red Bulls have had a difficult pit stop, which would have put us back up again into P6. So ahead of Magnussen then, who's had probably one of the better pit stops as well, because I didn't even see Magnussen to start off with. And we have Perez Verstappen behind us, but end up with Magnussen. I didn't even know where Magnussen was, but now he's behind us, and he's the one that's going to be a threat to us as it gets harder to drive in these wet conditions than it was even in the dry conditions, because the AI just have so much more traction in these wet conditions compared to myself. So it's difficult. It's going to be very difficult around a track that I really dislike. I'm not very good at around and in conditions that the AI is so much better at as well. So could see ourselves tumbling down the order if we're not careful. But into the pits go these drivers on these dry tyres still. You see Giovinazzi going into the pits along with a couple other cars, I'd imagine Danny Fiat as well. So up into P5. So we're not sure how that's happened. One of the cars in front of us must have had to pit twice because they were so far ahead of us. So I'm guessing it could be one of the Mercedes actually that's pitted. And now Kevin Magnussen looking to get past us. So we're already down to P6. So Magnussen really fighting to get past us now. But we hang it around on the outside, not allowing that to happen. Perhaps lacking a bit of concentration there. And already just struggling with these conditions, as you can see. Coming through here onto the Mistral Straight. It's just going to be so difficult to keep these guys behind us because we don't have any traction compared to these guys. They're just going to fly up to the back of our car and get a huge tow. And you can see it's happening right here as Magnussen now looking to get past us into the chicane, and it looks like it could happen as he gets past us on the inside, but braking a lot better than us, and we managed to hang it around, luckily, keep hold of position for now. But is it only a matter of time? Is he going to be able to make it past us into his right hand kick? And it looks like he has. So Magnussen making it past us as Ricciardo now out of the race. A difficult season for Ricciardo as we make more contact with another driver. This time it's Kevin Magnussen, and again making a bit of contact as we force our way down the inside. A typical Kevin Magnussen style move on Kevin Magnussen there. A guy that we had so many issues with on our Mick Schumacher career mode from F1 2018. I remember. So we were driving the Alfa Romeo, well, the Sauber, which is the same car as this as well back then. So yeah, but almost a replica of what happened back in those days. And as we come around the last corner to start lap 9, we're still in P5. So looking okay, but whether we can keep all these guys behind us, it just looks impossible as Magnussen, with the much better traction that he's getting, is just getting such a better exit out of every corner, and just about managed to keep ahead of him again. So yeah, it's just going to be the story of the race until the end of the race. But Magnussen now having to defend from Gasly, so that is really what we need to help us. And Gasly now looking to get past Magnussen, as you can see Gasly up into P6. So if these guys can fight for a bit, that would really do us a treat and help us, actually give us a little bit of breathing space perhaps, and a little bit of time to charge everything up and go again. And as you can see actually now Gasly and Magnussen keeps changing that P6, and you can see, yeah, we've actually managed to get a little bit of room there. So now we can focus on getting through all these corners without having to worry too much about having to defend from another car. So thanks to Magnussen and Gasly fighting, we go on to lap 12, and well, just 2 laps left to go. But now they're coming back at us. So Magnussen still has hold of P6. So Magnussen doing a hell of a race at the moment. Butler in P4 still ahead of us by some way. So our teammates looking strong as well for another good result. I think it's our teammate Mercedes and Leclerc as well up in the top, and actually on the mini map, but my teammate is actually leading the race. So Lucas Weber doing a hell of a job today, putting us to shame once again. But now Magnussen coming at us again on the penultimate lap of this race. You can see that proximity arrow, and we're not allowing him past there. He was a little bit too far back, I think, to actually make it down the inside. So we turned in and he pulled out, and now he's having to defend again from Pierre Gasly, who's actually having a better race than his teammate is. So I don't know where Verstappen has gone. He had the double stack though, to be fair, so Verstappen could be a little bit further down the order, but to see Verstappen behind Gasly is a bit weird, because of how overpowered Verstappen was in real life compared to Gasly. But for some reason Verstappen having a difficult season, but so is Gasly. Neither Red Bull really scoring too well, so they're pretty much condemned to be 5th best. So almost like we got out of the Red Bull program by dodging a bullet pretty much to join the Ferrari junior team pretty much, which is Alfa Romeo, who are actually doing better than the Ferrari senior team at the moment, really thanks to Lucas Weber. And now we come across to start the final lap of this race. You can see more cars closing in, so perhaps even if this was a longer race, we'd be pretty screwed in terms of just losing so many positions, having a massive trolley train behind us as Magnussen diving down the inside again. We close the door again. This is what the AI drivers do, so if you can't beat them, join them, and just cut them off really, and just defend it really hard like they do even when you're on the inside. They just decide to turn in on you half the time. So on the last lap of this race then, saved a bit of ERS, so we should be able to go fine onto this straight and do everything we can, get in that hot lap mode and getting the rich fuel mix up. So here we go then. It looks like we're actually a decent length away from Magnussen, not having to worry about defending too much, which is ideal. And we come round to the chicane for the final time, and looking good. So P5 then, exactly where we wanted to be, actually gaining places again. So a good race then, another good race. It's ideal. So hopefully we've actually managed to do well and keep our seat as well for another 4 races. There may be other transfers, though. I haven't really seen the emails or whether anything's been rumoured. So it's normally a time where transfers do happen after round 8 for some particular reason. Although I think last season it was round 12 as well. There's Ricciardo going to Racing Point, and I think it was, well, it might have been Giovinazzi filling in that. Actually, it was Carlos Sainz filling in that Renault. But my teammates just won the race though. So Alfa Romeo getting their first win of the season, but under Lucas Weber, not myself, unfortunately. So we come round the final corner to end this race in P5, and Magnussen looking interested again still, as we've run out of actual ERS there, but we crossed the line. It's P5, another good result. And without Monaco, if we actually had a good result in Monaco, this would have been a good run of 4 consecutive point finishes, I would imagine. And Frederic Vasseur not looking very modern there. It looks very old technology, PS2 standards. That was what he looked like then. But we are top, and well, actually no, it's Lucas Weber top. We wish we were top, but Bottas second. So Hamilton having a bad race, the championship leader. I'm guessing he must have pitted early and had to pit again. You see, he actually finished P9, so starting from pole and finishing P9. Disappointing day for him. I'm sure he won't be too happy about that, but Weber winning the race, Bottas finishing second. We finished 5th, so whether we've moved up or not, we'll have to see. And we look on to the driver standings, and we see that we are currently E7, so it's looking good for us in this race, in the standings at the moment. And Weber up into P2 as well, so looking good. We're in P2 in the constructors as well, so that is going to be the end of the episode there, guys, today. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you very soon for Austria. Whether we'll be with a different team or not, we'll have to wait and see. But like and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.